welcome to Best Laid Plans. This is the podcast where we talk all things planning and planning adjacent, and this is your host, Sarah Hart-Unger. If my voice sounds a little bit tired today, it is because I am in the middle of recording the audiobook for Best Laid Plans, a simple system for living a life that you love. It's going well. It's my very first time recording something officially and professionally. I get to do it in a real recording studio, which is kind of thrilling. I actually saw they had these records hanging on the wall, and I start looking at them, and one of them said Till Tuesday on it, which was, fun fact, the band that Amy Mann was part of in like the late 80s and early 90s. Her big hit was Voices Carry in that band, and apparently they recorded that track. Now, at that time, the same studio was actually not located in South Florida where I live. They were in New York, but still, seeing that on the wall was quite a thrill. Just me and Amy jamming in the studio. So my book comes out in mid-December, and it will have an audio version that is read by me, my very first audiobook recording. If you are interested, I don't know if the audio is already ready to pre-order or not. I actually have not checked that, but I know that both the Kindle edition and the print editions are available for pre-order. So if you're interested in Best Laid Plans, the book version, that's out wherever books are sold, and I'm so excited for you guys to read it. But that is not the focus of today's episode. We are going to get to today's October Q&A submissions. I guess one last business kind of tidbit about the course launch. So I record this podcast approximately 1 week ahead of time. So sometimes it's hard for me to know what's available and what's not by the time the episode comes out, because as of now, as of this recording time, Planning by Season is 2/3 full for 2026. So if you are interested in that course, I don't know, we may be further closer to full or filled up by the time this comes out. But if you're interested, I would definitely grab your slot in that now. Best Laid Plans at Home, Planning 2026 is a bigger program, so that still has space. And either way, if you're looking to plan all year long with me, going through each season, or if you just want to go crazy at the end of the year and in January and plan your 2026 in detailed fashion with me on your screen and a bunch of friends on the Zoom with you, then please check out those courses. They're all available at theshoebox.com, theshoebox.com/courses. All right, no more business. We are going to jump into the Q&A with a planner piece vignette from Cynthia. All right, here we go. She says, last year I heard your review of the Passionate Pennypincher Planner and was intrigued. Although you described it as something that would make your head explode, and I did, for me, it was exactly what I needed as my life oscillates between hard mode and super hard mode. In weeks when everything was falling apart, it really helped to be able to focus specifically on checking some boxes instead of dropping all household from total overwhelm. A key aspect of this planner is that you have to be okay with not getting all the boxes checked. I use the routines portion of the planner, but not the budget tools. Note that I live in a location where competent professional house cleaning is not an option. There is demand, but no supply. I want to let you know that my 2026 Passionate Pennypincher Planner has now dropped, and indeed, mine just arrived in the mail. I snapped up the new cover offering of Navy, and apparently I'm not alone. Navy has been much more popular than anticipated. It is also useful to know that the planner includes a digital PDF download of not only the 2026 planner, but also the last 3 months of 2025. That was super helpful for me when I got the 2025 planner, because I could start getting familiar with the system during the end of 2024. Thank you for your podcast. I never would have discovered my planner tools without it. As a side note, I am using the smaller version of Planner Pad at my work, which is heavily project-based. Additionally, this summer I opened a Stalogy notebook, partly to check out this Tomoe River paper that is so celebrated. I use this notebook as a quasi-bullet journal according to my own personal system, and have been very happy with it. I love this just because it cracks me up, because I talked about the Passionate Pennypincher Planner, which was so not up my alley, but I just love that somebody else was like, that's exactly what I need, and found that it works beautifully for her. And that is, I guess, one of the reasons this podcast exists. So many different planners to work with so many different planning styles and planning brains, and I'm so glad this works for Cynthia. One little note is I do not believe the paper in the Stalogy notebook is actually Tomoe River paper. It's similar, and I will have to confirm that, but I believe it is a proprietary, also Japanese paper that is made by the company that makes Stalogy notebooks, but definitely different than the Sanzen Tomoe River that is in Hobonichi. And I actually, if anything, I prefer the paper in the Stalogy. It's a little bit less smudgy, but I've certainly learned to love and embrace both. Speaking of Hobonichi, mine is still stuck in customs, by the way. It's in Memphis. It's been there since end of September, and we're just waiting. I've decided not to panic until we get to like mid-November. Then I actually might start to panic because I really do want my planner before January. So, okay. Now our next question is actually a pro tip, and it comes from listener Kristin. She writes, "Hey there, I was just listening to your episode from September 8th where you mentioned the possibility of using a digital calendar as your kids are getting older. I'm a fellow paper planner lover, and I found a way to marry my Google Calendar with my paper planner. I use an 8.5 by 11 disc-bound planner, so I print the month view of my Google Calendars. I usually print a quarter at a time, but it would be easy for me to do more. I use a Happy Planner punch that allows me to punch the disc-bound holes to add my Google Calendar to my planner, and then I have the paper version to view at a glance and to add stuff as I go to appointments or see clients. Over the weekend or on a Monday morning, I update my digital Google Calendar with anything I hand wrote during the week. This gives my husband access to anything new on our shared calendars. I then reprint the calendar with the updates to start fresh for the current week. The printer I have doesn't have any issues printing on paper that has already been punched, so I can even flip the paper over and use the same paper for 2 weeks. Typically, I only need to reprint the current month schedule. I may have updated the upcoming month in digital Google Calendar, but I leave the handwritten printed version in my planner till closer to that month. So super interesting, a way of combining Google Calendar, but also having something printed to hold in front of her and jot things down on. Interestingly, I remember a similar tip being shared by Sarah Powers of the Mom Hour that is similar to her planning style. She was a guest on this podcast long ago, and she now hosts a podcast called Midlife Lady Leisure Pursuits, which is fun. And maybe she'll have something talking about planning or something on a future episode. I don't think they've gotten to that yet. They're on like kayaking and plants and things like that. But anyway, yeah, I just think that's a really interesting way of having maybe a little bit of the digital with the shared aspect, and then also still having something physical in front of you that you can decorate, write on, scribble on, and have tangibly. So thank you so much for that submission, Kristin. All right, we're going to take a quick break, and then we are going to get to some more pro tips and questions from some more listeners. Today's episode comes to you with support from iXL. The autumn season is in full swing, and iXL helps keep your homeschool lessons or school enrichment structured and steady, whether you're following a set curriculum or creating your own. I personally love the simplicity that iXL offers. I don't have to dig through endless resources. iXL is organized by grade and topic, so I can jump right into what each child needs. My kids have been using iXL for years, and I really trust it to help solidify concepts and meet them where they are. Just like each leaf changes at its own pace, each child learns differently. iXL adapts so kids can move ahead when they're ready or revisit the topic until it truly clicks. Make an impact on your child's learning. Get iXL now. And Best Laid Plans listeners can get an exclusive 20% off iXL membership when they sign up today at ixl.com/plans. Visit ixl.com/plans to get the most effective learning program out there at the best price. Today's episode is brought to you with support from Green Chef. I love fall energy, like the fresh start of back to school, plus all of that delicious fall food. Warm, homey flavors just make everything feel comforting, plus with the new seasonal energy, it's the perfect time to reset and bring healthy habits back into focus. Green Chef can help you do just that, even if your season is packed with school festivities and events. Green Chef's meals are made up of real, clean ingredients, and they help you build lasting healthy habits without the hassle. With 80-plus dietitian-approved weekly meal options, Green Chef makes it easy to find meals that fit your lifestyle. Pick from Mediterranean, gluten-free, plant-based, and protein-heavy. There's even a gut and brain health option and calorie-smart choices, too. They really are family-friendly, and my kids are always so excited for our Green Chef dinners. Make this fall your healthiest yet with Green Chef. Head to greenchef.com/50bestlaid and use code 50bestlaid to get 50% off your first month, then 20% off for 2 months with free shipping. That's code 50bestlaid, as in 50bestlaid, at greenchef.com/50bestlaid. Today's episode is brought to you with support from Mint Mobile. If you're still overpaying for wireless, it's time to say yes to saying no. At Mint Mobile, their favorite word is no. No contracts, no monthly bills, no overages, no hidden fees, no BS. That's why you should say yes to making the switch and getting premium wireless for $15 per month. Mint Mobile's plans start at $15 per month, and there are no unexpected overages or hidden fees. All Mint Mobile plans come with high-speed data and unlimited talk and text delivered on the nation's largest 5G network. You can use your own phone with any Mint Mobile plan and bring your phone number, along with all your existing contacts. So ready to say yes to saying no? Make the switch at mintmobile.com/BLP. That's mintmobile.com/BLP. Upfront payment of $45 required, equivalent to $15 per month. Limited time new customer offer for first 3 months only. Speeds may slow above 35 gigabytes on unlimited plan. Taxes and fees extra. See Mint Mobile for details. All right, we are back. And this next question on the podcast comes from listener Susie. And this is more of a planning dilemma that maybe I can help her solve. So here is her question. She writes, "Hi, Sarah. I'm a longtime listener to your podcast. Like you, I have a job. Mine is in education and 3 kids. Mine are 8, 11, and 13, similar to yours. I started really getting into different planners in 2019 when I discovered the various views of time, daily, weekly, and monthly. When these are formatted differently on a page, something clicks and I can see my time differently. If I have a small prompt for something on my planning page, I think about it and it rolls around in my mind for the day. So, began my obsession with looking at various visual representations of time and exploring options. Right now, on your recommendation, I'm using a Hobonichi Weeks Mega. Just purchased my 3rd one for 2026 so that I can keep track of dates and appointments in the calendar pages and use the notes pages like a bullet journal with much more freedom and flexibility. I always think I'm going to run out of pages, but I haven't used them all yet. This works great in the summers when I'm away from work. It's portable, easy to grab and go, and easy to take out to write notes and update. I can use the pages to write creatively and make lists and whatever I need to do. Here comes the issue. Heading back into the school routine this year, and probably every year up to now, I was prepared with a specific planner to use for work. This time, I printed off a PDF of the Passion Planner weekly dated for 2025-2026. I love these because I can hole punch it and keep it in my binder with my school things, or I can put it into my Happy Planner cover and with my disc hole punch. But now, I feel like I really miss my Weeks Mega simplicity because there are so many more things to keep track of. At work, I run a school library, so I keep a schedule for school-wide events, requests to use the library, class schedules, my own tasks and classes, as well as my family's events and activities, 2 kids in middle school, 1 in elementary, and pickup times. Plus, there are evening activities after work each day that I don't know where to put. I have used a daily printout of the Passion Planner daily a few times to slow things down for me, but I still feel I have too many places to locate my schedule on the go. Things are so fast-paced that I don't know where to put my thoughts, information, dates, events, ideas, because I'm jumping between the 2 planners, plus my school's paper planner that includes dates and special activities, Google Calendar, personal and elementary school, Outlook Calendar, work, middle school calendars, and Artful Agenda, which pulls it all together. All this jumping around leads to me feeling untethered and not at planner peace. I know you must have a suggestion for me, and you probably have others in the same boat. What do you think?" And then she says, "Thanks for your podcast. It makes me feel like less of a nerd, and I mean that as a compliment. Yes, I take that as a compliment. Thank you so much." Oh, well, this is a lot. And it really does sound like, similar to me, you have a lot of moving parts in your life and a lot of different calendars and calendar items kind of coming at you from all directions. What seems to be missing here, and maybe is why you're missing the Weeks Mega so much, is I don't see you saying, this is my one master place where I put everything time sensitive. Because in your case, yes, there are tasks to manage and maybe that can be dealt with differently, but there's also a lot of kind of time sensitive things you mentioned, like pickups and kids with different schedules and your own schedule and things like that. And if you are actually don't have your calendar in one reliable location, like some of it's in your Passion Planner, but then some of it's kind of online and it didn't make it into your Passion Planner, oh my gosh, I'm like stressed out just thinking about it. So I don't think there's anything wrong with your Passion Planner weekly. I'd love to know what you're missing out of the Weeks Mega. I mean, I'm wondering if you're just missing the simplicity life of the summer and not the planner specifically, or maybe it's those blank pages, which can be a problem that would be easily fixed since you're using a disc bound. You can add a blank page for each week for a brain dump or have some blank pages at the end for task management. But I think I'm hearing that like your actual schedule, like your dated information is sitting in multiple different places along with other like time sensitive tasks. And I think that's what really, really needs to be addressed here. Now, whether that That's if you decide, you know what, everything does fit in the Passion Planner weekly, or maybe it doesn't. Maybe you need a more open-ended vertical layout, or maybe you do need to make the jump to digital as your master planner, and then your Passion Planner is more like, I don't know, you fill it out weekly based on your Google Calendar, which is your real source of truth, and you kind of prioritize tasks. But when it actually comes to scheduling things and like seeing where there's room on your schedule, maybe Google Calendar is actually going to be your main in-charge planner. I don't know if Google can pull from Outlook or vice versa. If you can pull them both into Artful Agenda. That's getting a little bit technical, and I don't know what kind of firewalls are set up based on privacy and things like that. But yeah, to me, what is missing is a very clear decision on where is the master, and then figuring out exactly what it is you're missing from that week's mega. And if it's more flexible writing space, I don't know that you need a week's mega. If you're going to use this Passion Planner in a disc bound, then great. You can add any sort of page that would make sense for you that's more open-ended. All right, I hope that helps. If others have suggestions for this listener, then please let her and me know, and I'm happy to share them on a future week. All right. Next, we have another kind of setting up my planner kind of question from another listener. She writes, "Hi, Sarah. Huge fan of both shows. I have a listener question I'd love your input on during a Best Laid Plans episode." Well, here we are. She writes, "In my role for work, I visit elementary schools in my school district to give presentations to students. I have a Google Doc that I share with the booking teacher that works wonderfully for gathering the schedule and pertinent information for those classes for the days that I am at school. My conundrum with planning is scheduling the dates for different schools. I currently use a paper planner with a large monthly layout. I email the booking teacher 2 to 3 potential dates, which I record in pencil on my calendar, and await the email response to confirm the date I will visit their school. In my planner, I record the potential dates in pencil and then write in pen once confirmed. This doesn't work out so well because I'm constantly erasing school names and booking dates way too far out because I'm stuck waiting for other teachers to confirm so I don't accidentally double book. So, do you have suggestions for managing the in-between planning of sending out dates to teachers but awaiting their confirmation?" Yes, I do. And since you're on paper, I would go with sticky notes. I love sticky notes for things that are like maybe going to happen, but maybe not going to happen. The wonderful thing about that is that way you don't have to have the residue of erasing it. You just get rid of the note if you change your mind. You can placehold a spot without putting anything permanent in the page. And I also think you might need to be a little stricter with your booking. Like, I will need to hear, I can guarantee this date for the next 7 days. And then you can leave your sticky note and maybe write the date that you've said that for. And then after those 7 days have gone by, you could keep it on there because, if it works out, it works out. But then you could also book something else if that comes up during the same slot. Because really, unless someone specifically needs a longer turnaround time, there probably isn't any significant reason they couldn't get back to you within a predetermined time frame. So I hope this helps. I think since you are a pen and pencil and paper person, obviously electronic is also another way that you could go more, it's easier to rewrite in something electronic. But if you like your paper system, I say stick with it, and sticky notes might be your answer. All right. Finally, I have a fun little story for you, as well as a listener tip that came in through text. Yes, you can text me. I'll put the number in the show notes for the episode. So if you're on your phone, you can see that. If you want to text me a question, it will not text my phone. It will just send me an email. So don't worry, you won't be interrupting anything. But this person writes, "Hi, Sarah. I'd love to hear your review of the Midori double schedule. I just bought the to-do version and I'm so excited about it. I plan to use the monthly as usual, and then on the cool monthly to-do page, which has a column for each week, I'll put my husband's travel schedule at the top. And then in my to-do, my weekly list for each week. And then I plan to use the extra column into the next month for my overall monthly goals." Okay, I'm including this text message because I had also seen the Midori double schedule on JetPens, and I just feel like this planner deserves a shout out. Have I ordered one to physically review yet? I have not, but it really just stood out to me as offering something very different from most planners, which is there's 2 options. You can get one that has 2 monthly calendar layouts for each month, or you can get one that has a calendar layout for each month, like spread upon 2 pages, followed by a kind of comprehensive goal planning to-do type of page for the month. So this could serve as a really nice goal planner. It's only $20-some, I think like $24. And then I was talking to a colleague at work who doesn't really know about this podcast or this side of my work. She's awesome. She's a nephrologist. And I was like, she's like, "I need a planner," because she saw that I used a planner. I'm like, "Oh, great. I can help you find one." She's like, "Oh, really? Cool." So she tells me what she's looking for. And the first thing that comes to mind is like, oh my gosh, she needs the Midori double schedule. So I text it to her and she writes back like, oh my God, you are so good at this. And I'm like, yeah, because it's actually my other job. So fun fact, I love doing planner matchmaking in real life. And I do think I nailed it. She ended up ordering it from JetPens. I really hope she loves it. And shout out to this person who texted me and reminded me of it because it did catch my eye, but I'm not entirely sure I would have thought about it for this user if I had not received this text. Maybe I will order one at some point to look at. Who knows? I might be placing a JetPens order for my Hobonichi since, as we discussed, it's stuck in Memphis. So, maybe I'll throw this in if I have to do that. All right. Well, this has been a super fun episode. A lot of discussion of actual planner products instead of concepts and rituals. But you know what? It is that time of year. So if you have a planner that you're super excited about, something you want me to review, or something you just want to sing the praises of said planner from the rooftops, let me know. I'm sure people are really in planner buying season right now and would love the inspiration. All right, I'll be back next week. I think it is a guest episode next week. We will see. As I mentioned, you can find all the course information for Best Laid Plans at Home, Planning 2026, as well as Planning by Season, which is almost full, on my website at theshoebox.com/courses. And in the meantime, I will be back in your feed next Monday. Have a wonderful week and happy planner buying season.
This podcast is part of the Sound Advice FM network. Sound Advice FM, women's voices amplified.